Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to Chevy Investigates and Opinionates. I'm Chevy Cool Lady. So glad you could join me. Tonight, I wanted to give you a little preview of the Robbie Harvey, the Robbie Harvey, latest video drop. Um, if you're expecting some new insight, let's just say I watched so you don't have to. I don't hate the guy. A lot of people have mixed feelings, and I have to say, the dude's a dramatic son SOB. You know what I'm saying? He's a dramatic SOB. But you know, that's just my opinion. I don't mean any harm. I just was hoping to get some new information. Well, according to Harvey, the FBI has been asking some mighty interesting questions to witnesses who have nothing to do with the finances of Solid Rock Church, but have everything to do with Micah herself. He does pose a good question. If the death investigation is concluded, then why do they continue to bring forth witnesses? Robbie Harvey has promised that there are new witnesses, people we have not heard of or heard from, who have stepped up. We know through other interviews that many of the people who have serious accusations against the so called pastor, J.P. Miller, were intimidated and in fear. A good point was brought up because there have been at least another death other than Micah's associated with this particular person in church. That is Chris Skinner, who died mysteriously 2 weeks after he confronted JP about seeing his wife, who is now his paramour. That's a fancy way of what we call just plain old, well, it rhymes with paramour. I won't say it. Well, let's go ahead and take a listen to what Robbie Harvey has to say. Thank you for joining me. This is Chevy Cool Lady. Please like and subscribe. Y'all mean the world to me.
One of it. And if you read down, it says, while unbearably tragic, descendant's death by taking her own life was not in any way suspicious. Okay. And the cause of death has been known to respondent, her family, and their followers since April 28th, 2024. Descendant's death has been thoroughly investigated. And that's the word that I want to focus in on. Defendant's death has been thoroughly investigated. Here's another thing that's interesting when you keep reading. Has been ruled that she took her own life, confirming what has been known from the beginning. And petitioner has been cleared of any involvement. Now read this part. As has everyone and anyone beyond descendant herself. That's interesting. Petitioner has been cleared, as has everyone. Huh?
Who all's been cleared? Why was this considered uh, some kind of absolution included in this document? But not only that, I just don't like how it reads. Do you? Tell me what you think about it in the comment.
What do you mean, as has everyone? As has everyone. Huh? As has everyone.
Okay, so we're given a very good point by Robbie Harvey here, where we were giving a timeline from the official police timeline from Robertson County, saying that Micah had stopped at the store at 1:27, and what they failed to notice was that Mike actually had gone to the store, come back in, out, pulled around, but she didn't leave, which was pretty much the assumption in the investigation. She actually sat to the left of the camera, just out of sight for 2 minutes, pulled around. You see the car pull around. She did it twice. She didn't actually leave until 1:38. So, here's one mistake, one of many in the so-called thorough investigation. So, let's go ahead and see what else Robbie Harvey has to say.
Okay? Done. She's gone. We all have seen this. She's gone, but she's not. Micah is sitting just to the left of the screen here. She never leaves. And she sits there for 2 minutes. Not once does she leave. She's still there. So your timeline, Robinson County Sheriff's Department, is already off. You're way off on time. Let me show you. She's still sitting there, and she sits there for 2 minutes. And then watch what she does. She turns right. And she circles the parking lot. You can see it's 1:38 p.m. This, and watch as she comes back. This is an example of anything but a thorough investigation. Watch right here. 1:38 p.m. That is not a thorough investigation. 1:38 p.m. Let's call it right there. 1:38:28. 1:35. They don't know what she's doing. They have no clue. No clue. That is not a thorough investigation. And a reminder, they didn't know she was driving, or John Paul Miller was driving Micah's car days before her death. A white car. They never looked for a white car. And I've got more information that will come out later.
Now, just days before this incident, as you recall, Micah had another car. She had a white car. That was the car that he actually took while she was hospitalized. He was seen driving that white car just days before this particular incident. He was seen driving that white car. Robbie Harvey makes it seem like this is a connection. This is something that the police weren't looking for. Was this car spotted? Did somebody see him? We've seen the notorious pictures of the tinted windows on the black truck driving down the road that was given to us early on as evidence of him being out of town. But what about that white car? Robbie Harvey seems to think it's important, but he didn't tell us. He's making us hold our breath again. That's the problem with with Robbie Harvey. It's like I want to really believe he has some kind of information. I really want to. The way he says it is very dramatic and very forceful and very, pentative, and makes me cling to the words. But then I say, are the words BS? Is he just saying this so that I'll tune in again? I tuned in yesterday, I tuned in today. I guess it worked. But let's go ahead and see if there's any other interesting information. Maybe it's not new, but we're rehashing a little bit of some other points that I hope will be drawn together in a pretty little package pretty soon. Come on, Robbie. Interesting point that we have not seen documented by Robertson County, and that has to do with the restraining order that was enacted, that was enforced, um, or I should say, should have been enforced when they actually turned her body over to JP. He was the estranged spouse. You know, come on now. That alone would solved a lot of the problems that the family's facing now, in my opinion. And this is another reason that laws, if they're not on the books, they need to be on the books about this type of thing. People die all the time, whether it's through self-harm or through nature, through accidents. There's a lot of you know there's a lot of ways to die. Remember that show, A Thousand Ways to Die? Yeah, there's some really weird ways to die, uh as well. But the point is, you know what to do with the body. Who does it go to? Who should it be released to? Then that of course brings up the whole thing about autopsies and why wasn't one done? We still don't know about that. So all in all, I agree, Robbie Harvey. Robeson County does a very poor job at their job.
Almost every journalist and media outlet covering the John Paul Miller saga has confirmed that there is indeed an FBI investigation ongoing. The question has always been, what exactly are the FBI looking at? With Micah Miller allegedly reporting Solid Rock Church and her husband to the IRS just days before her death, almost all agree that there are some major financial crimes being looked at allegedly. But no one has been able to confirm if they're looking into Micah Miller's death. According to Robertson County Sheriff's Department, Micah took her own life in a North Carolina state park on April 27th. And then a few days later, they posted their findings, ruling out any wrongdoing.
South Carolina criminal investigators have concluded their work of following up on the investigation done by Robeson County Sheriff's Office in this case, with nothing new to report.
One thing I want you all to keep in mind and remember, the family has not varied in their response to this news. They have held fast that Micah did not commit this act, and they have believed this with good reason. Let's hear what her dad had to say.
The bruising on her hands and on her arm, scratches on her hands, indicating defensive wounds. So very frustrating.
What When you say defensive wounds, is that something that was told to you by a medical professional when you talked about multiple casings there? Where did you get this information? And when you brought this information to law enforcement or brought it or mentioned to them, what did they say?
Okay, as far as finding out, the park ranger took us back to the scene and pointed out, here's where she would have been standing. Here's where the shell casings and the live round were, which also doesn't make sense. She knew how to use a weapon. She got the weapon for self-protection. She told me days beforehand, Dad, I really feel like I need a weapon for protection. And she knows how to use it. She's qualified. She's been through training. She's not going to charge the weapon and eject a live round. She already knows the first rule of gun use is knowing the condition of the gun.
But what you believe, in fact, are two different things. And many have wondered if the FBI would even look into her death since there was already an investigation completed. And I have questioned that myself until now, when yesterday a new witness came forward to me. Now, this witness has already met with the FBI, but in our conversation yesterday, they revealed something very telling. At the end of our conversation, they said this: when the FBI asked me if Micah did this herself, I told them no. I found that question really interesting because if her death had been thoroughly investigated, like Robertson County Sheriff's Department claims, and the attorneys of John Paul Miller also claim the same, then why would the FBI be wasting their time asking that question to witnesses? So I reached out to many witnesses that have already met with the FBI. I wanted to know if they were asked the same exact question. All of them said yes. And then I wanted to know what their answer was to that question. And all of them said Micah did not do this herself.
We're posed with some very good questions tonight. The main one being, what do you think? Do you think Micah did this to herself? Do you think she was forced? We know she was coerced in so many ways. But what about the actual act? Do you think she did it or do you think someone else did it? Let me know what you think in the comment box. Robbie Harvey didn't have any answers for us tonight. We still just know there's unnamed witnesses stepping forward. According to him, there is definitely an FBI. Whoops, I'm not supposed to say that. Alphabetical guys looking into this. Um, I believe they are. I think they are. I don't think this is over, especially if they are actually calling witnesses forward. They're doing this for a reason. They don't, and I would hope that they're concluding the investigation by now, but let it be good, let it be thorough, and let it stick. Let justice be done. Justice for Micah. I appreciate y'all watching this tonight. Thank you so much for joining. You mean the world to me. Please like, subscribe, do the thing, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. God bless you.